Welcome to the podcast for Renaissance Fellowship, where we are creatively and actively revealing Jesus' love to our generation. Here we find the script in Scripture and the text in context. Follow us at reddenfellowship.com or join us live Sunday nights at 6 p.m. in Sunrise, Florida, or online via Periscope. Here's our pastor, Jared Kring.
Okay, I have something very disturbing to tell you. Prepare yourself. Dun, dun, dun. Did you know that there are people in this world that actually enjoy exercising? Now, put your hands down. This is not, I refuse to believe this, but I've actually witnessed this abomination of human development and evolution. A person who actually, this freak of nature, this monstrous deformity of humanity that actually looks forward and enjoys going to the gym. Now, I'm not talking about enjoying the results of the gym. We all enjoy the results of the gym, looking a little better, our clothes fitting better, maybe the endorphin rush after, but actually they look forward to going to the gym. This is unnatural. This is not a natural thing for a human being to do. I can't even imagine a scenario. I mean, these are people they're like, hey, you know what? I've got an hour here. Let's go to the gym. I can't imagine a scenario where of my own fruition, of my own free time, I'd be like, hey, I got a couple hours here. No, I don't want to go to a movie. I don't want to watch sports. I want to go have an abnormal amount of sweat pour out of my body and hang around a bunch of other people in better shape than me and feel totally awkward. Yeah, that sounds awesome. No. But these people actually exist. People who enjoy going to the gym. These are the same people that think quinoa is food. These are the same people that think tofu is a replacement for anything. These are the same people that actually enjoy hummus. Yeah. And you also enjoy going to the gym, don't you?
Yes.
Thank you. And my point is proven. Thank you very much. Now, I was thinking about these people this week because I was thinking that you could really break down the entire human existence, like everything that we do in our lives, we can break down into basically three categories, okay? In life, there are things that we have to, okay? There are things that we have to do, right? Then there are things that we want to, okay? Things that we want to do. And then there are things that we should do, right? Does this sound right? There are have-tos, want-tos, and should-dos, right? Okay, now just for fun, let's categorize, okay? Let's make some lists. And this is the audience participation portion of the show, so please be involved. Thank you very much. Give me some things that you have to do.
Sleep.
Taxes. Sleep, yes. Go to the bathroom. Somebody said work, eat. You don't have to bathe and shower. No, you don't have to. You will survive if you don't. You won't be popular, but you will survive. What? Breathe, yes. Eat, sleep. It's really not a very long list. If you think about it, the things that you literally have to do to survive is pretty small. Now, for fun, let's make a list of the want-tos. Now, this is going to change from person to person, but give me some things that, as people, we want to do. Go to the beach. Rock climbing, travel, dance. Oh, well, that's a have-to, but can be a want-to also. Very, very, very well astute of you. Yes? No. You're missing, going to the gym is not a want-to. You're missing the point of this whole message. You may have to stand behind your chair. I'm just sorry. No. Give me some other things. Want-tos, things you want to. Make music, intimacy, love. We want to be in love. We want to be content. We want to have fun, right? We want to be happy. These are things that we want to, okay? Now, finally, the should-dos. Now, these are like the Brussels sprouts of life. You know, these are the things that we know they're good for us, right? They're the things that we should do, but we don't really want to or have to. What are some examples of should-dos?
Clean your house.
Eating well, absolutely eating healthy. What? Work, I don't know, work might be a have to because, you kind of have to work, but it's something we should do, yes. What? Go to the exercise, yes. It's something you should do. Diet, yes. I had a volunteer. We know we should volunteer. Give to charity. We should give to charity. These are all things that we know we should do. And these categories are mostly filled with the things that we know we should do. But frequently what happens is we run out of time. We run out of energy. We run out of resources. And before we can actually get the opportunity to do the should do's. These are the things that we associate usually with good causes or nobility. They're the things that are like, hey, you know what? I should do this thing. But what happens is we run out of time. We just run out of energy. There's not enough left. And of course, when you run out, what's the first thing that gets cut? Well, you're not going to cut the have-tos, right? You can't. You can't really cut the want-tos because that's being driven by your own desire. So what gets cut? Shoulds. The shoulds. It's not malicious. It's not because we're bad people. It's just common sense. There's only so much time and so many hours in a day. You got 8 hours to sleep or rest, right? You get 8 hours of work, and then the rest is taken up in traffic, eating, planning, taking care of kids, soccer practices, God only knows what kind of errands running, and then you get to the end of your day, and whatever dregs are left, you want to spend on the things that you want to do, and then after all that's done, well, there's nothing left. There's nothing left for the should-dos. The want-tos immediately will jump into and say, me, you got an hour free, me, do this. Because you want to. And then whatever you have left, if anything, becomes a should do. Now, I want you to think about what the people that we started out talking about. Those people that actually enjoy going to the gym. There's a few of them in here. I don't know how I feel about that. But I'm going to live with it, okay? So it's all right. I love you guys anyway. But these people have managed to take a should do and move it to a want to. That's pretty incredible if you think about it. They've taken something that they should do, and now it's become something that they actually want to do. And I have even met a few people in my life that have moved exercise from should do all the way to have to. Like their day is not complete. They can't function. They can't do anything unless they get that time at the gym, exercising, working on their body. It's something that they daily have to do. Now, we live in a generation today that is filled with people, all of us included, who are busy, right? Who's busy? Who's just absolutely sometimes so busy your head spins? It's like, I don't even know how to stop. I'm so busy. And we have so many things going on, so many things to fill our time, but all of us have these three categories of our life. And depending on where we place things is where our energy and our time is spent. It seems like all too often, the things that are really the most nurturing, the most important, the most beneficial to our heart and our soul always get shoved over into the should do's, right? I know I should exercise. I know I should eat healthy. I know I should spend more time with my kids. I know I should read my Bible more. I know I should pray more. I know I should. I know I should go out and meet new people. I know I should go out and travel more. I know I should go out and do new things. All these things that are really beneficial to us to get relegated to this part of our life that never really gets any attention. So we spend all of our life on the have-tos, this tiny little sliver on the want-tos, and we never get to the should-dos. But because these things are relegated to the should-do category, most of the time we never get the life or energy to do them. Now, we're in a series today called F words. And what we've been doing the last few weeks is we've been looking at these really big ideas, these big things that we as people deal with, and they all happen to start with F. The first week we talked about faith. And we talked about what do you do if you don't have faith? Like, what do you do if you're in a situation and you don't believe? Are you just supposed to feel guilty and crawl in a hole and be convinced you're a bad person? I mean, what do you do if you don't have faith for something? What did Jesus do when his disciples didn't have faith? Did he just yell at them? No. he found a way to work with them. And that's what we looked at in week 1. Last week, we talked about fear, something all of us have in common. And we had this really kind of interesting discovery. We found out that you are only born with 2 fears, a fear of falling and a fear of loud noises. That's it. Every other fear in your life is learned. Now think about that for a second. Every fear that you deal with, other than a fear of falling and a fear of loud noises, is learned. That's incredible. God never intended for his children to be afraid. The Bible says that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a power and strength and a sound mind. All of these fears that we struggle with are learned. We've gathered them and carry them with us through our life. And the other thing we learned last week was that love and fear are the opposite of each other. And anywhere that fear is, love cannot exist. And anywhere that love is, fear cannot exist. So our goal in this life is, as much as possible, is to try to displace as much fear as we can with love. Perfect love casts out fear. Now this week, our F word for this week is a big one. It's forgiveness. This week we're going to talk about forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is one of those huge things that gets relegated to our should do. We know that we should forgive more. But the problem with forgiveness is that we associate it with something noble, with some noble action or some deep spiritual thing it is to forgive people. And we view it as something that is really admirable and deeply spiritual, but optional. I mean, sometimes have you ever seen someone who will come on TV and they've gone through a terrible experience and they forgive the person? And we always have a tendency to look at them and go, wow, don't think I could do that. You know, that's pretty incredible, but I don't think that I could do that. I don't think I could forgive that way. Or you'll see someone who comes out who maybe went through an incredible traumatic experience and they'll forgive and maybe it's something that's just a horrible act of violence or violation, and we'll go, there's no way that I could ever forgive. And we have a tendency to look at this forgiveness with great respect and admiration. And the reason we do this is because forgiveness has been relegated to an act of nobility instead of an act of necessity. We think forgiveness is noble. We think it's something deeply spiritual as opposed to an act of necessity. We've relegated the act of forgiveness and the idea of forgiveness to our should do. I know I should do that, with all the other things that are really beneficial and important in our lives. And tonight, what I really wanted to do was I want us to take a deeper look at this idea of forgiveness. I want us to look at what it is, and I want us to understand what it is, why it is, and more importantly, I want to see how Jesus dealt with his and taught his disciples, folks like us, how they should handle this idea of forgiveness and what it meant to Jesus, and maybe we can walk out of here with a greater understanding of it. Okay, so forgiveness. That's our F word for tonight. It is a big one, and to understand this idea of forgiveness, I think we really have to delve into, real quickly, the reasons we don't forgive. Like, why do we not forgive people in our lives? And why are we resistant to this idea of forgiveness? And if you ask people this question and say, why can you not forgive? You usually will get a series of answers that kind of are very common, very similar. You get answers like, I can't let go of it. Or, what they did wasn't okay. I'm still hurting. Or, how can I let them get away with it? These are the ideas that persist in our mind. They just get stuck there, and they keep us from forgiving people. And all of these things, they boil down to this one central idea that somehow, somewhere along the way, forgiveness became associated with acceptance. That somehow, if I forgive someone, that means on some level that I am accepting what they did. That it's okay on some level, that it's okay, or some level we're saying that it wasn't wrong, that we're letting them off the hook, That forgiveness somehow is letting that person off the hook for the things that they've done, the things that they said, the actions that they made. Forgiveness is often viewed as this weak choice because it seems as though we're relinquishing the other party from any form of accountability. It's like we're saying what you did was okay. So in our mind, forgiveness has become acceptance. So if you don't accept what was done, then how could you possibly forgive it? This is made clear by our reluctance to forgive because we feel, and this is where it gets messed up, we feel that forgiveness is a gift to the person we're forgiving. We feel like that we're giving them a gift when we forgive. We're doing them a favor, letting them off the hook, forgiving them. This is the close to the core of what is skewed in our minds about forgiveness and why people are reluctant to do it. Now, the first big idea that I really want us to tackle tonight is a question. And it's a question of why. Why do we forgive? People will tell you, why do we forgive? Well, because it's the right thing to do. Because the Bible says that we should forgive. Or God says that we should forgive. And can I tell you the truth? That ain't a good enough reason. Because when you're in the heat of a moment and you're angry and you're hurt and someone has stepped into your life and made a mess, what the Bible says isn't carrying enough weight to make you do something. Okay? It's not a good enough reason. So what I want us to do is I want us to look at what Jesus said about forgiveness. Because Jesus had this great way of being able to see things from a human perspective, but with a divine understanding. Because he was human and he was divine. So he could see things from both ways. He could see the way the world was meant to be because God designed it, and the reality of the way the world really was because he lived it. So Matthew the 6th chapter is where we're going to be, okay? And this is right smack dab in the middle of what's called the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 5, 6, and 7. Jesus sits down with his disciples and basically unloads his entire manifesto, like everything that we believe as Christians, every philosophy that we have, everything that Jesus taught is pretty much found in one way, shape, or form in these 3 chapters of the Sermon on the Mount. If you want to understand what Jesus is about and his philosophy, you will find it in Matthew 5, 6, and 7, okay? Now, right in the middle of Matthew the 6th chapter, Jesus teaches his disciples how to pray. We all know the Lord's Prayer, right? You probably heard it. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. He gets to this point in the middle and he says, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Now he gets done with this prayer. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever, amen. But he decides to go back and re-emphasize and explain this little passage about forgiveness. And that's where I want us to pick up. Matthew the 6th chapter, starting in verse 14, it says, for if you forgive others for their transgressions, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others, then your Father will not forgive your transgressions. Wow. Heavy, right? Just for the record, I didn't say that. Jesus said that. Don't come talking to me later and saying, Jared, I don't know about your theology there. I didn't say it. Jesus did. But let me explain. In those 2 verses, Jesus explained the entire way this universe works. It is reciprocal. For every action, there is a reaction, equal in force, opposite in direction. You reap what you sow. If you take an apple seed, plant it in the ground, what are you going to grow? If you take an orange seed, plant it in the ground, what are you going to grow? Now, if you plant an apple seed and you go looking for oranges, you're probably not going to find them, right? But so often, that's what we do in life. We plant one thing, and then we expect to come back and reap something else. What Jesus is saying is, if you want forgiveness, you must give forgiveness. Sounds simple, right? It sounds very simple. And I hope that we can all be self-aware enough to know that at some point, everybody in here is going to mess up, and we are going to need forgiveness. Can we all agree? There are no perfect people here. Amen? And if you think you are, Just ask the person next to you. They'll make it clear you're not. I'm sure in some way, shape, or form, okay? Jesus is teaching us this, and if you want forgiveness, you must give forgiveness. He's not putting it out there as some big spiritual thing, if you want to get to heaven, or if you want to be a good person, or if you want an extra crown in your righteousness, or no. No, this is a very simple thing. Jesus is squarely moving forgiveness from the should do, skipping the want to, because I don't care if you want to. He is moving it to have to. Forgiveness is no longer a should do. It is now a have to, because whether you want to forgive or not is really irrelevant, because we've got to see forgiveness as something that we have to do. So the first question, why do we forgive? We forgive for ourselves, for us. I'm not forgiving for the person that I'm forgiving. I'm forgiving for me. Yes, forgiveness is a selfish act. I just said that. Forgiveness is selfish because forgiveness is a gift that you give your own soul. I'm going to say that again. Forgiveness is a gift that you give your own soul. And it's on two levels, because first of all, you're making a deposit into a bank of forgiveness that hopefully at some point you will be able to withdraw some of that forgiveness for yourself. But even greater than that is what you're doing is you're letting go of the bitterness that will literally rot you from the inside out. You're just letting it go. I'm talking Frozen style, big on a mountaintop. Let it go, right? Right? Okay. Now, there was a wise saying I heard once that said, unforgiveness is like poisoning yourself and waiting for someone else to die. It's like poisoning yourself and waiting for someone else to die. It's the absolute truth, because when we don't forgive someone, it doesn't hurt them. They're not up at night. They're not having nightmares. They're not churning and writing in their journal. Doesn't hurt them at all. The only person that unforgiveness hurts is you. You are the one carrying the complete burden of pain and hurt. Forgiveness is a gift that you give your own soul. It is a gift that you give your own heart. It is a gift you give your own mind. It's a gift you give your body. Because bitterness that you hold on to, it totally clouds your mind. And it twists and it contorts your body, and you get disease and ulcers and all of these incredibly terrible things that happen to you physically, physical manifestations of a spiritual problem. Forgiveness is not something that we should do. Forgiveness is something that we have to do. Forgiveness for human beings is more like eating and sleeping than it is eating healthy or exercising. It is something we have to do. It is something we must do to flush the impurities and filth from inside our own heart. So why do we forgive? For ourselves. But I can hear people saying, but Jared, and I can hear your thoughts, by the way. I don't know if you know that or not. I can actually hear your thoughts. They're saying, but Jared, there are just things that are beyond forgiveness. I mean, there are things in this world that are done that cannot be forgiven. They're not forgivable. And there are things people do to each other that are beyond forgiveness. So this leads us to the second question. First was, why do we forgive? The second one, who? Who do we forgive? John, the 13th chapter, Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he says, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Even as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all men will know that you are my disciples, if you have love one for another. Once again, Jesus is taking a big old thing from the should do. I know I should love people. And he's moving it all the way over here, skipping want to, and going straight to have to. We have to love one another. Is there something that's unforgivable? Are there things that are so terrible that they're unforgivable? No. Absolutely not. because forgiveness is not for them. Again, we're associating forgiveness with some sort of justice, that if we forgive, then we're letting them off the hook and we're saying that what they did was okay. That has nothing to do with it. There is no point scenario where bitterness and unforgiveness and a grudge is the healthy and right thing to do for a human being. There's no scenario, because all that does is hurt you. It doesn't hurt the person that you're not forgiving. It only hurts you. The only power that we have in many situations in life is the power to forgive. If you've been hurt, you've been victimized, something's been taken from you, sometimes the only thing you have left is the choice to forgive, because you get to make a choice. Even when all choices have been ripped away from you, even when everything's been taken away, you can still in your heart make that choice and can choose within your heart to forgive. I mean, think about Jesus. Rejected by his own people, right? Betrayed by one of his own, denied by one of his best friends. He's hanging, bleeding, tortured on a cross, dying the death of a criminal in shame. His mother looking on, okay? To everybody that's there. Nobody's looking going, hey, that's God. No. Everybody's looking going, oh, what a shame, what an injustice, what a terrible thing, right? In that moment, he is the victim until he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And in that moment, Jesus transforms that moment from a moment of victimization to a moment of victory, because he is now in control. Forgiveness actually has the power to transform us from victims to victors, because we have taken control back, even in a situation. And let me tell you, if Jesus can do it in that situation, then what excuse do I have? I mean, really, like, if he in that moment can forgive, then where do I get off because somebody didn't give me a promotion or somebody didn't give me respect or where do I get off holding a grudge if he can forgive in that moment? The power of forgiveness is to transform you from victim to victor. So who do I forgive? Everyone. Why do I forgive? For me. Who do I forgive? Everyone. I can hear you. I hear you again. I hear the grumbling. And you're saying, Jared, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if I'm ready for this, man. This is going to take some time. I have to work myself up to this. It's just too soon for me to even think about forgiving. I can't even wrap my mind around how I start this process. So here's a question for you. How long? How long are you going to carry it around? How long are you going to carry around the bitterness and the grudge? How long are you going to carry around the poison in your own veins? Not in the person's veins. They ain't got no poison. It's you. How long are you going to carry the poison? How long are you going to let these things that have happened to you, that you're holding on to, define your existence and who you are? How long are you going to walk around carrying the burden on your shoulders? How long is long enough before you feel justice or some kind of justice has been done? Even though you're the only one who's being punished. How long is long enough? A year? 10 years? 20 years? A month? A day? How long till you realize the only person that you're hurting is you? So here's the final question. First we did why. Why do we forgive? Then who do we forgive? And the final one is when. When do we forgive? In Matthew the 18th chapter, Jesus has been talking about forgiveness, and Peter comes up with this amazingly human question. And he says, and Peter came to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Up to 7 times? And Jesus said to him, I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. And some people will get really distracted and try to figure out what the numerology of the 7 times 70, they're completely missing the point, cannot sing the forest for the trees. The point that Jesus is saying is, when do you forgive? Today. Today. When do we forgive? Today. Now is the time. There is no limit placed on forgiveness. And Jesus isn't saying that because it's noble to forgive. He's saying it because he knows that it's a gift to yourself. So why would you suddenly put a limit on something that's a gift to your own soul? I mean, once you understand what forgiveness really is, it really makes sense. Well, why would I put a limit on it? Because then suddenly if they hurt me this much, then I have to carry around bitterness and poison in my heart? Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. There's no limit because it's for you. The reason that there's no limit on how much we should forgive is because it's for us. And Jesus understands that the forgiveness we are giving is a gift to our own soul. So why would we put a limit on that? Why would we say that at a certain point, oh yeah, I'm going to start poisoning myself? That's a great idea. And once you understand this idea of forgiveness is not something that is noble or optional, but instead has moved from the should do all the way to the have to, what you understand is that forgiveness is more akin to eating or going to the bathroom for a Christian or a human being than it is anything else. And then you would never wonder why you would forgive 70 times, 7 times in a day. Because it's for you. This forgiveness is for you. Now, I need a volunteer. One of my young ladies, Maddie, you want to come up? Okay. I got a little something here. This is unforgiveness. Everybody see, can you see unforgiveness? Okay. Okay, now, will you hold that? Open the jar for me. Is it heavy? No. It's not heavy at all, is it, right? You can carry that, right? Okay, so I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put in some bitterness right in there. How about some feuds? How about some family feuds? You know what feuds? Not like with survey says, not that. Yeah, okay, let's put those in there. Okay. How about some anger? Anger, we'll put a little anger in there. Okay. Now, can you seal that back up? Okay. Nice. Now, you think you can hold that for a while? It's not heavy, right? Okay, now, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to hold it above your head. Just like that. Just straight up. See, because what happens when we take these things in our life and we don't do it, we elevate them. And just stay there. Just like that. Okay? And we elevate unforgiveness to a place that's above our own health, above our own wellness, above our own faith, above our own belief. We've elevated our grudges and our anger to a higher place in our life. And we just hold it there, and we're like, it's not a big deal. It's just a little thing I'm holding on to. But just stay there, okay? As many of you know, I had an older brother named Joshua who was hit and run by a car in 1980. He was 8 years old at the time. I was 4. We were living in Mobile, Alabama, and he was hit by this car. Now, the driver that night hit my brother. He swerved into a parking lot, hit him, drug him 150 feet. And he suffered severe brain damage, never really recovered. Just very, very terrible situation. Now, the driver of that car was never found. No idea who the driver was. I don't know if he's living or dead. I don't know anything about him. For all I know, he could be watching this video right now. He could be listening to the podcast. Who knows? We don't know anything. We don't know if he's rich or poor, man or woman. We don't know who the driver was. Now, I remember when I became a little bit older, I remember asking my dad about the man who hit my car, about who hit my brother. And I asked him if he had any anger. Like, did he have any anger or bitterness towards this man? And I remember my dad's reaction was like, no, of course not. And I was like, well, why? He said, well, I'm way too busy taking care of my family to be worried about something like that. And I remember thinking in that moment how awesome my dad was, that he felt that way. But it stuck with me. Because as I grew older, I started to think about it. I said, because you get this movie mentality in your head, right? Like I could have gone out and I could spend my entire life searching for that man, right? Like some movie, like looking at police reports and photos and tire tread marks and trying to piece together the scene and figure out who this man is that hurt my family and did this irrevocable damage to us, right? And in this imaginary scenario, I would always come back to this central question. What would I do if I found him? Right, would I kill him? Like, what is this? I mean, what is this, like a Charles Bronson movie? I mean, what am I going to do? Is this, am I Bruce Willis and or am I going to try and get him arrested and prosecuted and spend the next 5 years of my life trying to get justice in the courts? Am I going to, kidnap him and tie him up somewhere and try to get justice and revenge on him? What am I going to do? I mean, what is the end game of unforgiveness? What is it? When would it ever be satisfied? And the truth is that in this imaginary scenario, while I was spending my life trying to find this person, I would be neglecting my real life. Hours that I could be spending with my beautiful wife and my children, I would be spending trying to find this person. While I was obsessed with this unforgiveness, this fire that I had created in myself, I would be neglecting my real life. See, we only have so much energy in our life, right?
Yep.
Now, that's not very heavy, is it?
It's pretty heavy now.
Wow. Now, just one more second. Because the true weight of anything in our life depends on how long we hold it. Let me say that again. The true weight of anything depends on how long you hold it. You can hold a feather, but if you hold it in the air for more than a minute, it hurts. Does it hurt here? Yeah. Now, do you know the only way for her to get rid of that pain? Lay it down. Lay it down. Give a hand for Maddie. You see, we only have so much energy. We only have so many hours in our life. We only have so many days. And any moment that you spend on bitterness and anger and feuds and unforgiveness is energy and time that you can't spend on the things that really matter in your life. The people that you love. Joy, peace, faith. Sowing into things that really matter. You just waste your energy elevating these things in your life, convincing yourself that it's not a big deal. It's not really. As the pain just builds and builds and builds. And the only solution is to lay it down. Just lay it down. Now, we're going to do something a little different tonight. I've got these cards here. And you take one and pass it around. Take one, pass it around. Here you go. Here you go. Take one and pass it down. You may be here tonight and you might have something. I think maybe all of us do. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's something that happened to you that you're holding on to. Like Maddie. You're straining, right? It hurts. It hurts. And the only way for you to feel release is to just lay it down. So what I want you to do is I want you to take this card that you just got. And if you have something like that in your life, I want you to write it down. It doesn't have to be anything. And here's the thing. When we're done, we're going to gather them up. We're going to get rid of them. No one's going to look at them. It's completely anonymous. This isn't about opening up and sharing with a group what's going on. This is about you and God. Do you understand? This is about you and God. If you have something, and maybe it's a date. Maybe it's a day in your life when something changed. Maybe it's a city. Maybe it's a dream that was broken. Maybe it's something that you lost. Maybe it's a person. I have mine. And we just need to remember that we don't forgive for anyone but ourselves. We're not hurting anyone when we don't forgive. We are only hurting ourselves. So why do we forgive for ourselves? Who do we forgive? Everyone. When do we forgive? Today. Take a moment. Write that down. And as we play this song, take a step. Come forward and just lay it down. Just like Maddie laid down that unforgiveness and she felt that immediate relief that she didn't have to carry that around anymore. Lay it down. You're not saying that what was done was okay. It's not acceptance. All you're saying is that you're not going to carry it anymore. You're not going to carry it. So as we sing this song, be bold. Write it down. Maybe it's multiple things. Maybe you need another card. That's okay. It really is. It's okay. But I would love it if all of us walked out of here tonight a little bit lighter than when we walked in. Because isn't that the point of this? I mean, it's not just for us to come in here and show off and dress up nice. The point is to actually come in and lay our burdens down and walk out of here lighter than when we walked in. So whatever it is, unforgiveness, bitterness, anger, frustration, unresolved conflict, write it down and bring it up here and lay it down.
We hope you enjoyed our podcast. We invite you to subscribe and spread the word on your favorite social media and follow us at REN Fellowship or keep up with us at renfellowship.com. Tune in next time as we continue to share the gospel according to common sense.